Good evening, everyone. I'm going to make a small video comment about one of my other passions, video gaming. And since it is video gaming, the video will be in English, of course. Sorry. So, what is the news? The topic about this is why Fallout 76 sucks. Okay, I cannot say this objectively. Maybe some people love just that. But by and large, I have the feeling that Fallout 76 is a big kick in the nuts of all the Fallout fans. Where to begin? Just a week or so ago, Bethesda, the developer of the Fallout series, has announced a trailer of Fallout 76. And there was nothing to see yet. We saw Wall 76, nothing more on the wonderful music by, I think, John Denver, West Virginia, which was really a feel-good trailer. But there was no info at all what it was, and then there was about a week of speculation what it might be. Most of the people on YouTube and in diverse forums had, of course, suggested the most logical step, that it would be something a little bit online, multiplayer, and probably something around survival. And given that this was not Fallout 5 or not Fallout 4 remake or 3 remake or anything, but Fallout 76, we could presume quite certainly that it would not be a normal single-player role-playing game as the other Fallout series. Now, mind you, Fallout is probably my #1 gaming favorite. It's really the gaming series I love more than any other. So for me personally, I was really excited that there would be a new Fallout, even though I did not know what sort of game it was. But the revelations now from E3, the gaming fair, which is currently in the United States running, I think, is it Los Angeles? I'm not sure where it is hosted. There was an about 1 hour show from Bethesda, and I watched the show live when it was over the internet. The first, I was so annoyed. I mean, I'm not one of these people who usually say, oh, evil shooters, they make school shooters and all that bullshit. I've played fun shooters when I was younger, so more the sort of heretic, hexen, I don't remember even the names of most of them. From those early pixel era when shooting stuff was really more fun, like not so super hectic as it is today. Or maybe I just did get older, or it is a mixture of both. Anyway, many video games today are so just over the top violent, smash them, beat them, explosions in such a grotesque manner, which really makes me feel like old man yelling at cloud, to be honest. And I don't know, one of the things is, for me, these shooters before coming to Fallout 76, I give you this impression so that you have an insight into the mindset I was put into. There was, what was it? Doom. Then is Quake. Then there was the 2 or 3 more games. All looked like the same game to me. Some destroyed landscape and explosions everywhere. People, enemies running like mad at you, and you entirely shooting in all directions. Like literally a nightmare of a teenage boy having too many guns and being on cocaine. How people go through such nerve-wracking... It's not my interest to say you shouldn't play this or it's bad to play this, but when a company has a 1 hour presentation before Fallout 76 and they present, I didn't count 6 games, and virtually besides a small preview to the newest Elder Scrolls Online chapter, which was more a little bit a side note given that it was already online. All the 6 games that they presented before Fallout 76 were variants of what I would call hyper shooters. Shooters where you play like you're on steroids, like your head would explode any minute. So I said, why do you make 6 times the same game? Running around like stupid shooting stuff all the time. You know, when I played games like Skyrim, when I played games like the old Fallout games, or the other Elder Scrolls single-player games, I take my time. I love to stand around, enjoy the landscape, sneak, maybe backstab someone if there is an enemy, or take things slowly, because I love to do things in wonderful worlds a slow way. Maybe that is some, when I played the Witcher games, for instance, there is some hectic battle for a moment, and it's okay, but it's not all the time hyper, combat. And then we were all seeing the reveal of Fallout 76. I'm not entirely sure if I have the right to feel angry, because of course, naturally, they can make any game they want in Fallout, in the Fallout setting. It's their IP, and they can do whatever the heck is theirs. It's not about their rights to do that. But it's a little bit similar to the ongoings in Star Wars and Star Trek, the movie genres. This IP has been made great, made possible by the majority of the fans. And they want certain things. I understand if you are a developer of video games, of movies, like, for example, as I said, Star Wars, Star Trek. Of course, you may be as the director of the movie, you feel like an artist. You feel like the new Da Vinci, the new Leonardo. And you are tired of the peasants telling you what to paint. No, this is business. This is an industry. And yes, technically by the law, these things belong to you. That's no problem. But people like me, who are Star Wars fans for 30 years, Star Trek fans for 30 years, Fallout fans for, I don't know, 20 years. Fallout 1 was released, I'm not sure. The 90s is something around the time. I say 20 years, Fallout fan. Then we, the fans, have invested a considerable amount of time into these things. Like some of us has invested into these fantastic worlds 20 or 30 years. And I do think we have certain, shall we say, moral rights on this. Like we have on the flip side, say the right, okay, sorry, we're boycotting this because this is derivating from what this series is to us, the majority of the fans. And you see, so essentially Fallout 76 is a survival shooter. I mean, the information they gave on this show was really not very extensive. So it's just, take it with several grains of salt, as far as I could see for now. The man who, was it Todd Howard? I'm not sure. I have a bad memory with names. The guy who explained Fallout 76 was somehow, I suppose, purposefully vague about a few things. Like he said, every person you meet is a player. Which to me sounds in reverse that there are no NPCs. Now, this is a conclusion which is not 100% certain. Maybe he was just speaking in an exaggerated manner. But the fact was, neither in the starting area in the vault was any other character visible. Just two robots. And all the characters you saw in the gaming preview were indeed other players. So the probability is there are no NPCs. We haven't seen any. And isn't that, if you had story in a they say, okay, you can explore the story on your own. But the reality is there is no single player mode. It's not like you can say, okay, I play this like, okay, this is like Skyrim. I play Skyrim or Fallout 3 or 4, and then I can go online if I want. But I can go back and play my single. No, this is entirely online. You are online. You are all the time forced to be online. And then what is this game about? You can discover the landscape. You can survive. Wow, I'm so excited I can survive. But essentially this also entirely rules out any mods. And modding was really one of the most beloved features of the Fallout games. If a game is permanently online, it can per definition not be modded. It can't. I mean, maybe they teach me better, but as I understand gaming and as I understand online versus offline gaming, you can't make mods in the way you make it in the Fallout games in a always online game. In a game where you are forced to be online. Where you can't say, okay, that is the boss, I'm saving now, and if I fail, I go back and try it again. No, if you die, of course, they said there will not be harsh penalties. You will not lose levels, you will not lose items, so your character will, but still, you still have to run back. And in a world that is 4 times larger than Fallout 4, that can be a heck. Especially given that probably the mobs have respawned by the time you've died. So they are all back. You have to fight all the long way back. You have to fight that again. And given this game is open PvP, meaning any player can kill you, as far as we can interpret from the film material seen. Any player can kill you anywhere at any time. And that is literally the worst aspect of it all. So this will be a gankfest royale. I know there are people who have a vicious mindset who, without any profit for themselves, will just kill people all the time. Even if they get no experience, even if they get no loot, nothing. No, there are just enough destructive, negative people who enjoy destroying the fun of others. That is what they live for. That is what they do. But the worst revelation of all, which really was for me the point, okay, I'm out, was when he revealed they are nukes. They have nukes that you can acquire keys to start a nuclear bomb and drop that bomb anywhere on the map. So maybe a single player can achieve this. If he is alone, if it's difficult, 3 or 4 gankers can just gather the keys, put them together in some bunker or missile launcher, and then they send the nuclear weapon somewhere off the map. And your entire village or city or whatever you build, and the entire area is nuked into nuke wasteland. That is probably why in the beginning this world looks so green, which is unexpected for a Fallout game. That is when we stepped when the character first stepped out of the world and we saw lush green forests, grass. Everything will be nuclear wasteland within 2 months. Because all the gankers will swarm over all the servers. They will, these people are hyper players. They play like 20 hours a day. And they march through these games for normal people like me, unbelievable speed. They will form groups of 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever people. Go through every world, they find every key to nuclear weapons, and they will nuke the entire servers, every single corner of the world. And apparently, from what we saw in the video material, the destruction is tremendous. So all what is lush forest is then nuked to radioactive desert. Covered in grey dust. And of course, one of the attractive things, they say, is build civilization. So you build your small house, you build together with your neighbors, a few tents, and then another house. And then you can look up in the sky and a nuke falls down and all the wonderful things you built and all the people and everything you have gathered over weeks and months of building and gathering is bombed to smithereens. I don't think that's pretty fun. I mean, it's not my form of entertainment. If it is yours, it's great for you, but it's definitely not mine. I mean, it was worse enough that I mean, given that there's no NPCs, so you can't go away and say, okay, you hired NPCs and placed them there and they guard this village. And in the open world of Fallout 4, you could build settlements. And they could be attacked, but you could mod them. And then you were relatively safe. And build settlements that were safe. Without modding. Just with the material of the game. Every larger animal can, or swarm of mobs will destroy, and the destruction apparently goes pretty fast. There was one monster, and it was attacking some sort of power machine, power engine, a windmill which creates electricity, and it was just smashing into the windmill one time, and all the parts flew in all the directions. So it's apparently nothing that is very, very stable to attack. So any monster that, even without players, any monster that just walks by can smash in your absence everything in seconds to dust, to nothing. So it's not like normally you would expect in a housing part of a game, like, okay, there is a safe area where we can go. And the funny thing is, if you are old enough to know online games, then you know that this is setting themselves up for doom. Bethesda is setting themselves up for doom with this mechanic. The nuclear weapon is really the final coffin, the final nail in the coffin. Because giving people the option to nuke the area means that is what people will do the entire time until not one rock is left standing. That is what will happen until the entire servers are all transformed into nuclear ash. That is what will happen. Without a moment of a doubt. I can't believe that. I just can't believe that. I mean, okay, they can make a racing game set in the Fallout. They can make a fishing game in the Fallout. Anything. It's their right to do whatever they want with Fallout. But wasting, if I had 4 years of development into something that the majority of the Fallout fans who love single-player stories and to love to be let alone, that is one of the prime fun of Fallout. That there is no other player asshole disturbing you. As it is, Jean-Paul Sartre said, hell are other people. That is the best thing about Fallout. You are alone. There is no stupid neighbor, no stupid 13-year-old kid hunting you, destroying your house, burning your crops and whatnot. Those teenage gankers are away. That is the best it was about games like Fallout and Elder Scrolls, those single-player games. Now, the online variant I could have lived would have been a normal online game like Elder Scrolls Online. Because then, at least, there is, if you played Elder Scrolls Online, which I did for a considerable time, you can play this as a single-player game. You really can. There are quests, there are NPCs, there are cities. There are other players, but unless you set yourself up for PvP, they cannot disturb you. So that's okay. If they would have at least make it a regular MMORPG, like World of Warcraft, for instance, like, as I said, Elder Scrolls Online, a consistent online world, just set in the Fallout, with quests, with stories, with NPCs, where sometimes other players are around, but you can play as in total ignorance of them. And you can have your house, and nobody can burn your house down in Elder Scrolls Online. It's yours. It's safe. I can't believe this. Who are they thinking is the target audience for this? I mean, I suppose the majority of Fallout fans love to be either alone or at the time of their choosing to be with friends. When they say, okay, I want to get for the time now out of my solo world and invite someone into my solo world and then go around and do stuff. But my stuff is my stuff. The city I built, the village I built is safe, is my stuff. It's not that it is when I'm locked in the next day it's all overrun and destroyed. What Fallout fan wants this? I suppose there are some, but I do not think there are so many. And then on the other hand, the people who love survival games, who love to gank and kill, I do assume that Fallout is not very high on their priority list. They have their games, their niche games for themselves, where they are, I assume, I don't know, but I assume pretty happy. So for what target audience is this game? I don't understand. It's as if they say, let's ignore the entire target audience that has made Fallout great for 20 years. Just ignore them entirely. Forget about them. Kick them in the ass. The same way like the developers of Star Wars with the new Star Wars movies kicked all the Star Wars fans in the ass. And not as harsh, but almost as harsh with the development of the new Star Trek movies. Most of the old Trek, I just say, or the TV series, I just say Klingon fans of the Klingon race. Totally kicked in the ass, in the nuts, by the developers of the new Star Trek TV series. Discovery, I think, is it named. I mean, what is it that great studios and companies roll over the target audience that has made it great, their IPs for 30 years plus? Why? I mean, in the case of Star Trek and Star Wars, it is because social justice warriors took over. It's explainable. But Bethesda was not taken over by someone like a bunch of social justice warriors stormed Bethesda, put them all out, and say, no, we're making this now. There's no real explanation that I can comprehend why they would do this. What possible target audience, what possible gain would be in... And then making everything destructible, just wonderful. Who will build a city, a house, anything, knowing that the next day it is all gone, smithereens, away? Or worse, I just stand there, taper my house, tent my dog, and suddenly from the sky the nuke transforms all the forest, wonderful scenic area, my house, my village, my dog, myself, into nuclear waste. I don't know who would be interested in, who would find that entertaining. I most certainly do not.